Happy New Year. My dear friends, this weekend we celebrate the Epiphany, the manifestation or the letting everyone know that Christ is truly born. The Son of God has come into our world. And it's also accompanied by recognizing the three kings or the three wise men and the gifts which they brought forth of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Perhaps it can help us to think about what are the gifts which we share to bring Christ into the world with those around us. There's a story of a small town where there was this apartment building, just a couple of stories tall, and one evening, the apartment building caught fire. And as the alarms go off, everyone from the building retreats down out into the safe place in the courtyard, awaiting for the fire department to come to the rescue to help put out this fire. And as people are standing outside in this courtyard, they're looking up at the building, and they notice that there's somebody up in one of the top rooms. They can see the reflection of someone in one of those windows. People are in a panic. Who is that person? How might we save them? There was no real opportunity or clear path inward to get back into the building due to the flames. And all of a sudden, there's this person who's beginning to climb up one of the telephone poles that's right next to this burning building. People look up and they're all in awe, like, who is that? And this person is somehow able to get onto the roof and starts to scale the building until he reaches the window, which opens up, and this person is able to grab this young girl out from the window, carry her, and take her down that telephone pole and let her go in this courtyard with everybody there. The person who saved this young woman disappears into the dark. And finally, the fire department came and was able to put out the fire. The next day, the unfortunate news came that the young girl's parents passed in the fire. So the small town has a bit of a town hall to try to decide or to figure out who should raise this young girl. So a few people come forward. First person is the mayor, and he says, well, I can raise this young girl because I'm very well connected in this society, and towns over. I'll make sure that she's raised well, and I'll make sure that she has every opportunity possible so that she can be wise and healthy and live a really good life. A second person comes forward, and it's a doctor. And the doctor says, well, I'm happy to raise this young woman because I have all kinds of medicines that can make sure that she's healthy. I'll make sure she has a good, healthy diet so that she might live a good, prosperous life. Finally, one more person comes forward. It's a businessman who was very well-to-do, wearing a nice, clean-cut suit. And he says, well, I have a lot of money. I've invested well in the stock market, and I can pay anything for her to be able to make sure she has all the right opportunities to set her up for a good college and a good job and onward. All the people in the town hall are trying to decide, well, who should raise this young girl? And as people are kind of debating back and forth, all of a sudden, someone comes forward from beyond this group and says, I'm happy to raise her. And immediately, the girl recognized this voice as the man who had saved her from the burning building. And as she hears his voice, she runs to him and gives him a big hug And as he hugs her, it's very evident of the burn marks that are all over his arms from when he was heroic and saved her. The people in the town hall were confused. Who is this guy? What do you have to offer her? They asked. And this man says, all I have is my love. All I have is my love. My friends, when we think about the Epiphany this weekend, we think about the gifts which were brought forward to Jesus to celebrate the revelation that he is in our world. Jesus is recognized as the Messiah, the Son of God. And it was at this moment where it was made known to all people throughout the world, even the Gentiles, the 3 wise men, who have heard about it and made the journey out east to be able to hear him, to see him, to be in his presence, and to welcome the family. They brought gifts with them to recognize the light of this moment, the light of Christ into this world. They brought frankincense, myrrh, and gold. Each of these gifts had some kind of significance, which were to foretell who this person was, who this God was that was entering into the world. Frankincense recognizes Christ as priest, as frankincense was often used in worship. It was something that was pretty expensive, and so it was a pretty pricey gift. And it represents Christ and his divinity, as well as his humanity. Myrrh was given to represent Christ as prophet, which myrrh was used back then a lot of times as modes of healing or modes of times of burials or funerals. It was a way in which to foretell the passion, death, and resurrection of Christ in his life to come. And finally, gold, to recognize Christ as king. And not as king as a ruler over among people, but a leader who brought forth mercy and justice, love and forgiveness to all people. These gifts might help us to recognize, you and I, about what gifts do we bring forward to Christ, whether it is frankincense, myrrh, or gold, or whether it's simply the love that we have to share with God and with one another. Perhaps we might think about what gifts we bring forward in this world today. Maybe we're called to bring forward the gift of patience in the moment where our patience is tested, whether we're driving or whether we're waiting in line. Maybe we're called to bring love or an open ear of listening when we encounter someone who's going through a struggle or a hard time. Maybe it's simply the gift of love, the gift in which we recognize just how much God loves us to come to us in the form of a child, to share that we might be saved, that we might be redeemed from all of our imperfections and our own sins. One last note to think about. Pope Leo often talks about the importance of serving or being a beacon of hope for one another. And perhaps you and I can also be a beacon of hope, a beacon of light in this time of Epiphany, in this new year of 2026. How might we go forward sharing the love of Christ with those around us, especially with those who are yet to know the love he has for them?